Bear Lake is really popular. That's a really cool place. Right on the border of Idaho and Utah, like splits the middle of the lake. So if you like water skiing and stuff like that, there's a million things to do. But everything in the middle is pretty boring. I'm gonna lie, there's not a lot in the middle of the state. But yeah, in the mountain range, we're right on the opposite side of the Rockies, so there's a lot of hiking in the eastern side of Utah.
So, what was your first impression when you came here to New York?
Let's see. So I've been to New York more times than I can count by now. I think the first time I came here was in like 5th grade, and that's one of the reasons I actually wanted to come back, because I loved it so much. I love the big city. I love that there's people all the time. I can walk anywhere with ease, and I really like that. It's the city that never sleeps. Even with the pandemic, it's a little less, right? But my first impression is that it's really big, and one of the things that stuck with me, I remember that after I left, is that it stunk. Like, I remember the smell of New York City.
The urine, you mean?
Say that again?
Are you talking about the urine?
Yeah, just like the urine, like the trash and stuff, It's kind of a dirty city, but...
Not hygienic.
Yeah, exactly. It's not hygienic, but I actually like it. I like the dirty
You don't
smell
mind
and
it?
stuff. I don't mind it, yeah.
The rats and the roaches?
Never bugs me. But no, I love the city.
What were some things you thought before you moved? Well, you live here now, right?
Yes, sir.
What were some of the things you thought before you lived here and then afterwards? Like things that you assumed were true, but then you came here and you're like, oh my God, it wasn't that way at all.
That's a good question.
Because, we all have, especially places that we want to go to, we all have ideas in our head of what it's going to be like once we move there. And then once we actually do move there, it's a whole other story.
That's fair. I'd say I didn't know there was like different sections of the city. So I didn't know like downtown, like the financial district was so far away from like midtown or like Upper East Side, In my head, it was always just one kind of place. And especially when I came here younger, like I never really noticed. But now that I live here, I kind of realize that it's like different sections of the city, like almost have their own personalities.
Because some of them are residential, some of them are commercial.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like going down to the financial district is a lot different than sitting somewhere and eating in Midtown. So yeah, one of the things I thought it was like a really like the whole island of Manhattan was like one homogeneous kind of like city, but it's really not. There's a lot of different things here.
Because in Salt Lake City is Salt Lake City. It's like
exactly,
you circle around it, so it's Capitol buildings and
exactly. Yeah,
that's all the
same.
Right? But New York is definitely like it's very different.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Like some parts are more conservative, some parts are more liberal, some parts are like gay, some parts are like more straight. And then you just got different like socioeconomic classes as well. Some places you got the projects, some places multi-million-dollar houses that you couldn't go within 10 foot. So what are some places you like to go to in New York?
In New York, let's see. So I've been to a handful of them.
Did you hit up all the spots like once you moved here?
Yes and no. I hit about half of them, I'd say.
So you're still in the middle. You're still in progress.
Yes. So when I first got here, my like bucket list, so to say, was like Freedom Tower, the Bull on Wall Street, Statue of Liberty, Eiffel Tower, right there. What the hell is it called? Empire State Building.
Yeah.
God dang. Central Park. I want to go see the Upper East Side. For some reason, 432 Park Avenue, that giant apartment building. I want to go see that because I think it looks sick. And I've done pretty much everything downtown already, so I'm kind of working my way up the island. So definitely not done, but there's a lot to see.
Now you are from Utah. What is someone from Utah who has moved to New York? What is some advice that you would like to give people on moving to New York? How to find an apartment, how to make friends, how to just set up a new life for yourself, let's just say.
I'd say don't let the people bug you. I think there's a stereotype in New York that like everybody is like in a hurry and kind of rude and they'll give you the cold shoulder and stuff. But from my experience, everybody I talk to is really nice and friendly and helpful. So don't be afraid of the people. It's really easy to make friends if you go somewhere you enjoy. Just talk to people who have similar interests. There's a million parks and basketball courts. If you like sports, go hang out there and you'll find somebody to hang out with. I personally never had to do like apartment hunting or anything, so I just live on college housing, so I couldn't tell you about that part. But yeah, I think if you just embrace the city and like don't let it shove you back out, you just stay here a little longer than you think you want to, then you get used to it, and it's a good time.
So you gotta step out of your comfort zone.
Exactly, yeah.
Now, so now, are you in a dorm right now?
Yes, sir.
What's dorm life like right now?
It's interesting. I get tested for COVID once a week. And if and New York State has like their list of travel advisory stuff, So before the pandemic, my plan was to travel like up and down the coast, but now the school won't let me do that because I have to quarantine when I come back and get tested and all this stuff.
So they're taking things very seriously.
Very serious, yeah. It's on tight lockdown for sure.
I bet that wasn't what you expected a year ago before you came here.
No, definitely not. No.
You was expecting the parties and the get-togethers, the gatherings, and frat boys and all that stuff.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
It's funny how things turn out so differently from
yeah.
especially because you were probably raised watching those movies and you're thinking like college would be a certain way, and then you get there and you're like, what is this?
And one of the unique things about NYU is they don't have like a Greek culture kind of thing,
Oh, no?
Like there's like frats and stuff, but they're not like officially sanctioned, so
That could be a good thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes people in frats, they only associate with other people in their frats. It's almost like their frat decides.
Yeah, it's like a little cult, and you get like little rivalries and whatever going, but
yeah.
Dorm life is pretty tight right now.
Yeah.
You gotta the school is watching just about everything you do. Any building you go into that the school owns, you have to do like a daily screener where like you take your temperature, you have the mask. And if you go into a building and somebody that was there at the same time as you tests positive, then they do a contact tracing where they tell you like, hey, you were at so-and-so building, somebody that was there at the same time tested positive, so we're watching you.
Now, are the desks like very far apart? How does that work?
So most of the school has gone online, even if you're in the city. The few classes that you have in person, the desks are all like 6 or 7 feet apart, and that is your desk. So like the desk in my classroom that I sit at, nobody else sits in that desk. Like that room is for my room, like my class, that class only.
That reminds me of elementary school.
It's exactly what it's like, yeah. Like
your desk is your desk. You put your books inside of the little thing, the shelf inside.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody else uses it.
Nope. So they don't even have like other classes and stuff go into that room after. Like that is our classes room.
That's a good idea. So now, what are you studying?
I am actually studying economics right now.
Okay.
So I just started my degree. I haven't done anything for it yet.
What? Let me put this a little bit closer because I'm afraid the audio won't pick up.
Yeah, you're good.
So now, what do you plan on doing once you get your degree?
So ideally, I shouldn't have to use my economics degree. My plan is to go into law school, preferably at NYU. I'm not set on that though. I figured that an economics degree is solid enough that I can fall back on that if law school doesn't work out or something. But in the end, I'd like to go to law school and be like a criminal justice lawyer kind of thing.
How did you choose NYU? What did you narrow it down to at the end? Before you chose NYU?
I applied to only 2 colleges. The first one was Utah University, like 30 minutes from my house. And I applied to NYU because it was as far away from Utah as I could get and still be in the country. And I was like a 3.6 GPA kid. Like there's no reason I should be at this school, but they accepted me and here I am. So I picked it because it was far away and I love this city with all my heart, so I wanted to be here.
So once you finish your studies, you plan on staying in New York?
Yes and no. Depending on how my life goes, like I want to live here when I'm single. I definitely don't want to live here and like try and raise a family or anything like that. So depending on how that aspect of my life goes, I'd like to stay here as long as I can. But I definitely don't want to try and like raise a family or have kids or anything here.
Where do you want to raise your kids?
That's a great question. I wouldn't mind Utah. I think that's a great place for families.
Guys, get back. Come on, come up for a
Although
shot.
maybe somewhere like Oregon or West Coast somewhere.
Where you guys from?
Okay.
You guys are
I don't
So,
know.
okay, go
Oh,
ahead.
yeah, from
I
Korea?
forget, that's all.
Do you play sports at NYU?
At NYU, no. I did in high school though. But
What
I
did you
don't
play?
know. I did soccer.
Okay. So you've abandoned that now.
Yeah, I broke my knee, and so I couldn't play anymore.
Yeah, that's the thing about sports. You know, a lot of injuries.
Yeah,
for
lots of
sure.
injuries.
Yeah. Now let us ask some other random questions. Okay. Where would you film if you were me? Doing this kind of stuff, obviously.
Okay. I think this is a great place. I think Washington Square is like it's like NYU's hangout spot, you know, so you're gonna get a lot of the college kids.
Yeah,
and,
I've gotten a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
A lot of students. I'm like, where are the old people at? Come at me. You know, old people, they're not as open to talking about things. But I would actually like to get more old people on simply because they have more experience. They have more
fair.
things to say. But it turns out like, you know, it's mostly just young people. I had a high school freshman come up at
Really?
me earlier. Yeah.
Alright.
So, yeah.
I think Madison Square Park up at like 23rd and 5th Avenue.
Yeah.
I see a lot of like adult-looking people there, you know, have a life together kind of thing.
You know, I went to Central Park and it was nothing but mothers pushing their babies.
Yes.
Those people
They
aren't trying to
got
be
their
filmed.
strollers out all day,
Yeah.
every day.
Yeah.
No, Madison Square Park, like by the little Shake Shack up there's always people. I see a lot of old people up
You
there.
think they're
actually.
approachable?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I see a lot of old people. I
Yeah.
have luck with a couple of them.
Fabulous. Any other places?
Maybe if you went down to the bowl in the financial district, just because there's so many people coming in and out, you might get like more
By Wall
tourists
Street?
from more people from like all over just doing touristy stuff, you know.
Yeah.
That might be good. What else? Highline, the Highline. There's a lot of people going through there. You can
Really?
talk to. Yeah.
Wow.
Like Battery Park, that kind of area. Yeah, I would say your best bet's probably Madison Square Park.
All right, now, do you have any special talents?
No. I can bend my arms backwards. I don't know if that counts as a talent though.
Do you skate as well?
Huh?
Are you a skater?
No.
No?
I wish.
You just ride that thing? What do you call that?
It's a one wheel.
Okay, how does that work? It's just like,
a-
is it battery powered? How does it work?
Yeah. So there's a big battery in the middle of the wheel, and then it automatically balances you. So like you know, like those segways.
Let me get a shot of that real
Yeah.
quick. All right. How long does that battery last?
This is the smallest version that they make,
Yeah.
and it is 7 miles. So here I have gone up to Central Park. So I started at 23rd, and then I went up to Central Park, and then came down to Union Square, and then down to here, and then back up to 23rd.
That's a long time.
Yeah, it lasts a while. I like it.
So
So
you-
getting around the city.
Do they have brands or are they all the same? Generic?
So it's called a one wheel. It's made by like Future Motions.
Yeah.
This is called the Pint, and they have like one called an XR, and then the One Wheel Plus.
Where'd you order that from?
I actually bought it at a patio furniture supply store.
So you bought it in person?
Yes, sir.
You didn't buy it online?
Nope. I got it in July.
That's cool, man. I like that.
I freaking love this thing, dude.
You gotta have like good balance, right?
Yeah, definitely.
What do you want to do when the pandemic ends?
Travel more. I think that's a cliche answer for sure, but my dad works for the airport in Utah, so I get flight benefits. I get to fly for free.
Wow.
So yeah, it's super nice. But once the pandemic's over, I'd like to go travel a lot more places.
Yeah.
Especially if I still live here, I'd like to fly down to like, Philadelphia, Miami, like all up and down the East Coast, just seeing what they're seeing.
So travel is on your agenda.
Definitely.
All right, great. Now, where have you been before? Yeah. That's a
okay.
question that I ask a lot of people.
Yeah.
Where have you traveled?
So I've been to a couple places in Europe. I lived in Florence, Italy for 3 months last. I was there for the fall semester for school, and then I started the spring semester there. And when the pandemic started, they kicked us out and I went home. But while I was there, I went to Paris,